What's going on, everybody? Another episode of Dame Calls Game today, Monday, 8:30 p.m. Like always. Today's September 7th, and since last show, there's been a lot that's been going on. NBA playoffs are going on. Everybody should know that at this point. If you don't, what are you doing? You obviously live under a rock. Um, since last Monday, we talked about the Rockets Thunder being in Game 7. And the Heat and Bucks series has been playing since then. That night, the Heat went up 1-0, and like I said, the Rockets and Thunder had gone into Game 7. The next day, the Celtics and the Raptors, second series, not semifinals, wow, um, quarterfinals for the Eastern Conference. Celtics and Raptors were playing, and Celtics had gone up 2-0 at that point. Um, they were looking unstoppable. As good as the Raptors looked in the first round, the Celtics just had every single possible upper hand on them. And the Jazz and the Nuggets series that had finally ended that night with the lowest scoring game of that entire series. Nuggets had only won 80-78, and the Jazz actually had a game-winning opportunity. Mike Conley missed that game-winning three, just barely. And the Nuggets advanced into round two for the West. That next day, Wednesday, September 2nd, Game 7 was played, and the Houston Rockets came out on top over the Oklahoma City Thunder 104-102. It was a very, very well played game. Chris Paul, he obviously showed that as much as the Rockets came out on top in that series with the trade of Russell Westbrook to Houston and Chris Paul to OKC, I think the way it looks, if the Thunder can get one more piece of a veteran, maybe, or a really, really high volume scorer, Chris Paul and Thunder won that trade. Excuse me. That night as well, the Heat and Bucks played their game too. The Heat came out on top 116-114. Again, as good as the Bucks looked in the first series they played against Orlando. They dropped the game, but the rest of the games they played pretty damn well. But again, the Heat, they just owned every single upper hand that they could possibly own against the Bucks. And it wasn't looking pretty at that time. Everybody, including me, everybody was begging for a sweep because it's ugly. Then the Raptors Celtics played their game 3 on Thursday. The Raptors finally won the first game of that series. It was really close again. Raptors won 104-103. The Raptors came out on top, obviously, but even then, I just don't know. I still doubted the Raptors. I still do doubt the Raptors. I had talked big game on them, like they were looking for a repeat, and it's not looking promising for them at this point. 104-103, you're the defending champs. It's not looking good. You're down 2-1. Finally, you get a 1 win in game 3, though. So, I mean, at that point in the series, it's kind of garbage time, if you would say. Then the Clippers, as they were waiting for Denver or Utah, they finally get to play Denver, game 1 of the Western semifinals. Denver, man, the whole series against Utah, they were on fire. They shot lights out. I want to say they were almost up to 60% shooting the whole series as a team from the floor. They, like I said, they were lighting it up here, there, everywhere. But so was Utah, understandably so. They came in, played LA, and it was ugly. It looked like they gathered a whole bunch of fans, gave them costumes to look like they're actual players, and said, "Here, go play the Clippers." And granted, the Clippers hadn't really looked all that great. They probably should not have come out against the Mavericks, but they did. And the Clippers, that game 1, they looked like the Clippers should have looked. They were hitting just about every shot they could take. And the Nuggets, man, they came out and dropped the freaking ball. They lost 120-97. Uh, Jamal Murray, he didn't do too hot. Nikola Jokic didn't do too hot, and it was just ugly, man. So I don't know what to say about that other than exactly what I'm saying. Then the next day, Friday, September 4th, the Heat and the Bucks played their game three. Once again, like I said, the Heat own every single upper hand that they could possibly have against the Bucks. They came out and won 115-100. Um, man, it it's just looking like the Heat are literally on fire. Um, every single person on their team has been shooting lights out, except Jimmy Butler, who has even hit some majorly important 3-point shots when he needed to. He's known to be not too much of a great 3-point shooter. If you don't know that, now you do. Um, but he's hit some really clutch shots from behind the line, and even in crunch time, if it's not a 3-point shot, he's there when he needs to be. Makes a defensive play, draws a foul when he needs to draw a foul. Jr. Or if your name's Junior, I apologize. I completely agree. The Bucks and Giannis are pretty freaking overrated. Um, just to clarify, like Giannis went out in that game 4 yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. And the Bucks actually looked like a better team. Um, they came out and they had to actually play basketball instead of playing Giannis and friends. Um, like they came out and won game 4 after everybody, and I mean everybody in the world were expecting them to be swept. But to continue on, the Heat won that game 3-0. Then the Rockets and the Lakers. The Lakers were waiting for either OKC or Houston. They finally had their first game of the Western semifinals. And the Lakers came out and again, another team in game 1 dropped the freaking ball. I don't think they expected Houston to play the defense that they did in that game. And Houston actually, against everybody's opinion, including my own, Houston came out and played defense. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that before, but Houston, the Rockets, James Harden, PJ Tucker, they played defense. Um, yeah, they won the game 112-97. Um, so, man, Anthony Davis actually had an air ball in that game whenever PJ Tucker was guarding him on the low block. He tried to do a little fadeaway jumper like Kobe or Dirk or MJ and completely just missed it. Missed everything. Didn't even hit the backboard, didn't hit the rim. Courtney, I know you're not being serious about that. There's no way. um, no. Okay, that is true. They were playing pretty decent defense against OKC. I wouldn't say it was to the level that they played against the Lakers, but they were playing some defense against OKC. Do you think Houston has a chance? Um, just for the sake of it's the playoffs and it's basketball, and the playoffs is a completely different monster than the regular season. Yes, Houston does have a chance. Um, to counter argue your Westbrook point, um, I've said it so many times. I don't think he's their issue, but I don't think he is their hero, if that makes sense. Everybody knows freaking Westbrook averaged a triple double for like 3 seasons in a row. Um, so he's very ball dominant, and he's on a team where they already had a player who was ball dominant in James Harden. He comes in, and they still look good, but it's an issue between Westbrook being ball dominant and Harden being ball dominant. And in the late minutes of the fourth quarter, everybody saw it the last game. It just didn't really look all that great. So I don't know if he's their downfall, to be completely honest, but I don't know if he'd be the one to win them games, if that makes sense. But to carry on, the Raptors and the Celtics had their game 4 on Saturday. And the Raptors came out and tied the series, winning 100-93. Um, it was looking like it was going to be a pretty good series now at this point after the first 2 games when Boston came out and absolutely dominated. Toronto came back and won 2 games in a row to tie it up, which is a blessing because I was sitting here telling everyone that they were going to make a chance to repeat. So it's looking good at this point. Saturday, they played a damn good game. Boston just wasn't hitting shots when they needed to. Court. And then Denver and Clipper. Wow, Denver and LA, the Clippers. They played their game too. And when I tell you, like I said, the first game that they had, Denver probably just grabbed some fans out the freaking stadium, even though there's no fans in the stadium, and said, "Here, go play." Denver actually decided to show up, and granted, they didn't win by a lot, but they won. They got the job done. They looked like the Nuggets again. They won 110 to 101. So that series is tied at 1-1. They play again tonight. And then yesterday, the Lakers came out and played their game 2 against the Rockets. And when I tell you, the Lakers played much better than they did in game 1. Somebody in the group said it. I don't remember exactly who, and I apologize for this, but somebody said that both teams are front-running teams. So whenever one has the lead, the team that is losing decides not to play as hard as they should. And that's kind of what it looked like in game 1 and game 2. The Rockets, obviously, they came out into the second half after being down by 11, I think, and they looked really good. They came back. They tied the game up and even took the lead at some point, and they fought till the fourth quarter, and then the Lakers decided to be the Lakers. LeBron and AD ran the team. They decided to put the team on their backs. And then they came out. LeBron and Anthony Davis, I think. Hold on, I have a stat for this. They went up and scored 62 points or something along the lines of that. And when they do that, they win. Yeah, LeBron and AD combined for 62 total points. LeBron having 28 of those points, and Anthony Davis having 34. And when the Lakers have a duo that put up 60 plus points, this year they're 94% win percentage. The last team to do it for the Lakers was Kobe and Shaq in 2000. They had a 95% win rate that year, and that was the year that they won their first title together. I completely agree. Rondo actually came out and gave them a really good burst off the bench. After being gone for however long he was gone, I think he missed 4, 5, 6 games maybe. He came back and I don't want to say he looked like the Rondo of old because he's still a shell of himself, but he looked like a floor manager again, and he had to do what he did, and he did it. But like I said, the Bucks, they finally came back and they won. Finally, Game 4. They were on the verge of a sweep, and I mean on the verge of that sweep. Chris Middleton, after Giannis goes out of the game, and he had the chance to return, but then he just didn't. Chris Middleton took over. I think he ended the game with 34 points or something like that. I'll check to make sure before I lie to you guys. 36 points to be exact. But the ending of that game, he took over. He was the person to take all the ending shots. He made a 3 to go up by 4, I think it was. But to the Heat's side of it, Tyler Hero actually was looking like he was going to be their hero, literally, pun intended. He played 33 minutes off the bench. He went 4 of 11. Yes, 4 of 11 isn't that great. He went 3 of 6 from behind the line, which is 50%. That's pretty damn good if you don't know basketball. 50% from behind the line is great. He didn't take a lot of shots, but 6 is enough. Hit 3 of them, 50%, obviously. But 3 of those, all 3 of his 3-point shots came in the fourth quarter and overtime. He was shooting lights out in the clutch of that game. And I mean, he was shooting lights out. He looked like a dead eye. He was going crazy. He was trying to will them to that win. Right now, the Celtics and Raptors are playing in their game 5, and the Celtics look like an abusive parent. They're beating the Raptors 92-73 right now. At one point, they were up by 30. Now they're only up by 19. In basketball terms, 19 points is not that big of a margin when there's still 7 minutes left in the game, but it's enough that you can comfortably hold that lead if you don't make terrible mistakes. To backtrack though, the Rockets and Lakers game 1. Um, Lakers lost that game. Like I said, they weren't doing too hot. Um, so uh, in the fourth quarter, they were down big, and everybody decided to flame LeBron for not doing what he needed to do and be LeBron James. He didn't score a single point in the fourth quarter. And if you're not hearing me correctly, I'll say it again. LeBron James did not score a single point in the fourth quarter out of his jump shots, at least, or layup attempts. I will share my screen here in a second. Chrome. No, application window. Share. Okay, here we go. See it? Not a single shot attempt was made. Misses 2-point shot. Misses pull-up jumper. Misses a 3-point attempt. He did not make a single shot in the fourth quarter. Not at all. LeBron James in the fourth quarter did not make a single shot. And then it gets even worse because Anthony Davis went 2 of 4 in the fourth quarter. He didn't score a single point until right here. He finally made his first basket of the fourth quarter with 5 minutes and 4 seconds left in the game. I don't know if you guys know that or know how bad that is, but it's awful. The Lakers definitely did not need that to happen to them in that game. They were already down enough, and when that happens, it's piss poor. But then to advance to the other game, Kawhi Leonard in their last game, I think it was game 2. Yes, it was game 2. Kawhi Leonard decided to do the same thing. Application window. Share. Right here. Fourth quarter. No Nuggets players' shots are being showed. Made, no, missed, no. Kawhi Leonard, made and miss are being shown. He missed all 3 of his attempts in the fourth quarter. And I will go down here. Did he make any free throws? Kawhi Leonard. I'm not seeing his name, guys. So, for all of you people who say LeBron isn't the king of LA, or that obviously Kawhi is the king of LA over LeBron, which I don't agree with, but for those of you who say that, there's your proof. I just showed both of their series. One had a really bad showing, and then the other had a really bad showing. To even further on LeBron, I hate to do it to you guys because I know a lot of people don't agree with me with how good LeBron is of a player. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of people on both sides of this. He is really good. He's not that great. But he looks like he wants to embarrass Russell Westbrook this whole series. I don't know if anybody's been watching the games, but just in case you are, I will pull this up. Lakers highlights, right? Here's LeBron. Where is he? Turnover. Russell Westbrook running down the court. LeBron pins him two-handed on the backboard. He goes down court right through Robert Covington, I think that is. If it's not, I apologize for the mistake. But it goes right through him. Scores. Same game, fourth quarter. After that first block was in the third. Here's another one. Sent Russell Westbrook's layup attempt to the next freaking area code. That ball went from Orlando probably over to my house where I reside. Wasn't too pretty. And then again, last night in game 2, Russell Westbrook went up for another floater. LeBron sent that one out of Orlando. It's not looking pretty for Russell Westbrook, and I apologize for the fans of the Houston Rockets, but it's not looking great. Courtney, what's going on, man?
Hey, so I've been tuning in, listening to the show. You said the Houston Rockets have not been playing defense?
They haven't been playing defense like they did in game 1.
Ever since they started the bubble, that's what they've been keen on.
Are you sure?
Yes. And here's my thing. it's just so funny because like you said, Westbrook is not the problem. He
I don't think
clearly
he's. I don't think it's a problem.
he is absolutely the problem on the Houston Rockets team. You think about it, like so. Here's the funny part, right? Like
I will say, last night his game was fucking piss poor.
yeah, but even he got away with it in every previous series because, like, you look at him when like Houston, I think it was Game 5, where like James Harden did not touch the ball for like 6 straight possessions to close the game out.
Right.
Where Russell Westbrook did. It's just like you look at yesterday. The Lakers losing Game 1 is like not a big deal to me at all. Like it means absolutely nothing because like LeBron's going to fill you out. He's not going to score the ball in the fourth quarter. If you look at Game 1 versus Portland, it's almost the same exact game.
Right.
The biggest difference was Rondo. Like Game 1, Rondo came back, but he wasn't the same. Game 2, he really made it easier and it was the communication communication is what makes it better. Like if you look at their defensive side, and I'm willing to say this, and because I've been right this entire time. Like I told you, like the Bucks, if they played the Heat, they would get their ass with or without Giannis because Bam and Jimmy Butler are going to make it hard for Giannis.
Yeah.
And then I also said, like the Mavs, if healthy, would be able to beat the Clippers, and I stand by that because if KP didn't go down, then it's a different ball game. But for me, I feel like if 2 stars on the Lakers, I mean, not even 2 stars, if 2 people can shoot their shot and consistently hit down the 3 ball, nobody's going to beat them. But if they miss shots, and it doesn't matter what 2, it could be Kuz and Caruso, it could be Keith, it could be Morris and Caldwell Pope, it could be Rondo, it could be Kuzma, like whatever 2, any combination, any way you want to do it. If those 2 can hit shots, the Lakers are dangerous because, like, it's going to be Lakers in 5. I'll probably give you a 6 because I respect Harden enough, but not really. Because there's no answer for Anthony Davis what he did yesterday.
Right.
And then in the fourth quarter, there's no answer for LeBron, period. There's nobody on that team that
never has
LeBron.
been.
So it's going to be the same thing where it's like, okay, we're going to have LeBron dominate. Like, and what you were about to talk about with the Kawhi point, it's so funny how LeBron James gets criticized for not scoring anything. Kawhi, and I said this to somebody, Kawhi Leonard gets away with being the most, like, he got put in the best positions of any player in the history of probably sports. Like, you look at it, when he joined when he was in San Antonio, he was with a dynasty.
Yeah.
He averaged 12 points. I think it was 13 points, like maybe 6 rebounds and 3 assists and 1 MVP because he slowed LeBron James down. But LeBron averaged 28, 8, and 6.
Right.
So then he goes and he holds out for a year, and then he goes to Toronto. Toronto clearly is showing how good they are without him.
Right.
Right. And then now he's on.
Even though they're getting their asses handed to them.
Games last year, made it to the playoffs, and then now it's like he never get, like, I will never consider Kawhi Leonard one of the greatest because he doesn't get held to the same standard as Steph Curry, LeBron James, AD even. AD gets crucified. Paul George gets crucified more than Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard gets away with being average as hell, and I hate it.
I feel like the reason Paul George gets crucified as hard as he does is because he has self-proclaimed himself to be better than what he is. I'm not saying he's bad by any means, but whenever you were in OKC and you call yourself, playoff P's here, and then you go and get bounced in the playoffs, and then the next playoff series you're in, you play like you're some no-name. Like, you're still Paul George. Don't get me wrong, but...
And then the thing I hate is when he uses had I not had my surgeries, then I wouldn't be the player who I am. Don't do that shit, because that's what's going to bother me.
Like,
you can't come out and flaunt your stuff.
No, you're right to say that, but
last year
that surgery is not easy.
No, but what I'm saying is he just finished top 5 in the MVP when he was at OKC last year.
Right.
So I don't want to hear that, because of my injury, I'm not the same person. Motherfucker, you just finished top 5 in the MVP race.
And you just join a team that has too many people that
going through which I respected when he came out and said, like, with everything on the bubble and I'm depressed and all. Like, I respect it, okay. But stop acting like I'm telling you, what's going to happen is the Clippers are going to have to go against LeBron, and they have nobody who is going to be, because here's what's going to happen.
I don't know if the Clippers come out of this.
Kawhi Leonard is either going to have to sell out on defense to guard LeBron James, and it's not going to be possible, or he's going to have to sell out on offense and let LeBron dominate, and you don't want to do that either, because like we've seen it before the break, before the bubble, and after the bubble, the Lakers have figured out what the Clippers want to do to them. And I just feel like it's so crucial for me. Like, I'm not so sure if they're going to be able to get rid of Denver that easy as you just said. Because Denver, you got to think, they just battled 7 games to the wire. If you remember at the end of the post game, they didn't even know they played on Friday. They thought they would have a couple of days off.
So that actually shocked me. The way they turned around some of these series, like typically, obviously, there's travel. So typically, whenever you get done with a series, you have like 4 or 5 days off that you get to travel there, accustomed to where you're at, get comfortable, do some practices, and then you play. But for it to be in the bubble, they got done with their games against Utah, and like you said, 2 days or 3 days later, they're all right.
They had 1 day. They got
exactly.
On Wednesday.
They got a break, and then the next day. That's what I'm saying. So, like, as much as they are NBA players and being in the same spot, you don't really need that much of a break. But having 1 day off and then back in the game mode is kind of egregious. Don't get me wrong. But then, as you're saying, I don't know if Kawhi is all that great. Considering he might be, if they come out of the series against Denver, he might be the Clippers' best option to guard LeBron. Him or Paul George, but like you said, he gets the credit for shutting down, quote unquote, shutting down LeBron a few years ago. He actually tried to defend Jamal Murray. Hold on, let me show you this.
Well, I think, and let me say this: Kawhi is great. I'm not gonna knock his greatness, but the only advantage that the Clippers have, the one advantage is that they have Montrezl Harrell. They have Marcus.
Yeah, their roster's deep as hell.
They have Kawhi Leonard, Pat Bev. So they got options who can throw.
Yeah.
At LeBron, but here's the thing: nobody has experienced playoff LeBron in the West except Kawhi Leonard, and he got saved by San Antonio, and then playoff P, who got his ass whooped every time he had to go against LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see it, man, because Anthony Davis. He needs to be as aggressive as he was last night.
Me and my dad had talked about it. Game 1 of that game of this series so far, it looked like Anthony Davis didn't want to play to his size. And that's what you've said. That's what I've said. We've all said it. The way that they need to go, if LeBron is not being the lion's share of the scoring, Anthony Davis needs to be aggressive and dominant inside because nobody is his size. Like, well, again, especially against the Rockets.
I'm not so focused on game 1. Like I'm telling you, game 1 for LeBron, you look at any game 1s, most game 1s, it's just a filler. Like he's not
unless it's against Toronto.
He's looking to see what set they're going to be in defensively. He's looking to get his guys engaged. And that's the thing. Danny Green is starting to knock down shots more and more.
Yeah, if he starts getting hot, it'll be a lot better.
It was a bad, like the thing that concerned me yesterday was the third quarter. They decided to come out with JaVale McGee after Markieff Morris had been on fire. And I don't know why you put JaVale in when he can't match up with those guys. And Anthony Davis, he's playing a 5, which is different. But like you said, he has to have that mentality that I'm gonna get 30 and 10 every time PJ Tucker. Now PJ Tucker is a dog. And no disrespect to him, but like he's 6'5", AD's 6'11",
he's like 6'8".
So
I don't know if he's my height, but I think he's like 6'8". I'm not 100% sure. PJ Tucker, yeah. Is he? Hold on.
He's smaller. Yeah, he's smaller than LeBron James.
PJ Tucker.
But I think it's
he's my height. Yikes.
Huh?
I said, yeah, he's my height. Yikes.
Yeah, he's like 6'5".
But yeah, to continue on this Kawhi thing, there's this issue. He tried to guard Jamal Murray. Granted, he's good. Kawhi is a good defender, but this is bad. Are you ready for this? Watch this. step back and put him on skates, and then
God damn,
hit one in his mouth.
Oh,
he caught him on the perfect unbalance. There's no push off there, nothing. Step back and in his mouth.
Save you, big dog.
Like,
hey, look, and here's the thing: the reason why that happens, Kawhi Leonard has to exert so much energy on offense now because he has to be that scorer that they're not prepared. And here's my thing: it's not like previous with Toronto to where Kawhi didn't have to exert a lot of energy because he had Ibaka, he had Siakam, he had Lowry and Van Fleet, and guys who they can put up there to slow it down. When you look at the defense of the Clippers, Montrezl Harrell is their defensive guy.
Yep, maybe Patrick Beverley, Lou Williams.
But Lou Williams can't play defense. Pat Bev can play defense. Lou Williams can't play defense. He's not known for defense.
Oh, I'm not saying he's known for it, but
he can't play defense. He's not an option on defense.
He plays it better than James Harden. I don't know what you watch.
Oh my, stop disrespecting
James Harden is like a freaking garden fence, my guy.
I'm pretty sure James Harden won a basketball game this year, specifically playing defense. If you don't think I'm telling the truth, look up Game 5 or Game 6. No, it was Game 5.
Of
no,
what?
It was Game 7. It might have been Game 7.
Which one? Of OKC?
Yeah, when he had the block.
Oh, okay.
But he played. But what I'm saying is he struggled. He was like 4-12 or 4-17 from the field, but he played defense. And what I remember I was telling my football players, I was like, watch this play. And James Harden of 2 years ago, if that shot went up, he wasn't going to contest it. He would have let it go. James Harden has now bought into playing defense, which is why you don't see anybody attacking James Harden. And you want to know when you can look at it? Look at the All-Star game of last year when Giannis is like, oh, no, I want a point guard who's going to pass the ball. And they went at James Harden every defensive possession when the game was tied and at the end of the All-Star game. And ever since then, you notice James Harden, like the Rockets are able to score, but they sell out on the defensive end in order to be able to get fast break points. James Harden has stepped up his defense again. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be defensive player of the year or he's going to be all defensive teams, but he's playing a lot better defense.
Well, yeah, it's easy to play better defense than one dribble by me and open up your shoulder so you can go score. It's easy to play better defense than that. You could play better defense than that in the NBA.
No, I couldn't. These Cavs, man.
I promise you, still could.
Hey, look, I promise you, these Cavs don't got
but no, like it's easier to say he plays better defense now than he has in years prior, because in years prior, like I said, somebody would get one step on him, and instead of trying to get in front of him, he'd just be like, oh, okay, and try to poke out a steal from behind. And granted, he leads the league in steals this year, but me and Robbie talked about it because Robbie was the one that pointed that fact out to me. The way they run steals in the NBA should not be the way that steals are counted. So if you're playing defense against someone, let's say they're doing dribble moves, dribble, and you poke it out, you would expect that to be a steal for you, right?
No, whoever gets the ball.
Right, and that's not how it should be.
Why not?
Because that person didn't steal the ball from the dribbler. They just ended up getting a loose ball.
So an interception, if you get your hands on the ball and, a fumble. Prime example. There's a forced fumble.
Right.
And then there's a fumble.
There's a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. Right.
Causes the fumble doesn't get the fumble.
They get a forced fumble.
Yeah, but it's different.
You don't get a forced steal.
Exactly, but it doesn't make sense because you didn't land the ball. You forced the steal.
Okay, but here, listen to this example.
If there's a deflection, right? If somebody
you get a pass deflected.
But you don't get. But if there's an interception, you don't get credit for the interception.
Right, but it's a completely different thing.
The ball out,
but here's how it works in basketball, though, in comparison to other sports. There's no forced steal. There's no steal assist. So let's say if I am playing defense on you, I poke it out, and two people are going down court. Your teammate grabs it, like hits it, but my teammate ends up with the ball instead. That counts as a steal for him, but he didn't do shit. He just ended up with the ball.
So
or if I swipe it to my player.
For example, hockey. You want to know what's funny? An assist. Anybody who touches the puck on a scoring goal gets credit for the assist.
There's 2 assists in hockey and soccer. It's a soccer assist.
It's stupid.
No, it's great.
No, it's not. I can literally just touch the puck and just pass it to somebody. They can pass it to somebody, and then that guy makes all the moves, do all the one-on-one, and I'm gonna get credit just because I passed it to somebody. Well, that doesn't matter. Like,
okay, so if it's like that, like if you're saying, let's say the goalie, for example,
and I'm next
right.
To the goalie,
so here, so if the goalie gets the puck on a save, passes it down ice, one person gets it, passes it across the goaltender on the other team, and that person scores. The goalie, that's the pointless assist, right? But I'm thinking like hockey and soccer, if they're in an offensive zone and you're getting past your defender, you hit one guy and the one guy just gets one touch.
But I'm thinking about like an 89-foot pass.
Right. Okay. Pass. That's pointless.
But it counts. So
yes.
It's like, are we gonna say assistant NHL or flawed? No. It's like if you
but steals in the NBA are
the ball away.
It should 100% be my steal. If you're playing offense against me, I swipe the ball from you and it hits straight to my teammate. That should be my steal. It shouldn't be his.
It's not. You just swiped the ball away.
So I stole the ball from you.
You didn't maintain possession.
But I stole the ball from you. You just pointed that out to me.
The quarterback passes the ball, hands the ball off to the running back. The quarterback's running yard should account.
What? No, that's two different points.
No, it's not.
If you're dribbling the ball for me, okay, but listen, if you're dribbling the ball to me and I swipe it from your possession, and it just happens to land straight in the chest of my teammate, I stole the ball from you. My teammate didn't steal the ball from you.
So
I did.
The center should have passing yards and running yards too. Because without the center,
no, that's a completely different argument.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. That has no resolution to what a steal is in the NBA. A center hiking a ball has nothing to do with a steal in the NBA. No, it does not.
Because I poke the ball away and I give it to somebody else.
We're just gonna call that. Like, it's my stream.
Do you forget I have this much
yeah, you abuse your power. Like, no, if I steal the possession away from you, that's my steal. It's not a teammate that ends up catching the ball off my steal. That's my steal.
I don't agree. Because you didn't, just because you steal the ball, if your teammate wasn't there, what if you swipe the ball and you just throw it out of bounds because you swiped it? Now they get the ball back.
Okay, that's still my steal. I stole possession from you.
That's not a steal because then
I stole the possession from the offensive player. I stole the possession from the offensive player.
But you didn't because now they get the ball back, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, I still stole it from you. You don't have the ball anymore. Your team does, but you don't. I stole your possession. That's how it works.
No, that's not.
So, to continue, today, the Celtics and Raptors had their game 5, and the Celtics beat them by 32 points, 111-89.
I think that's called an ass whooping.
I think that's more than called an ass whooping. I think that's called an embarrassment.
Yeah, somebody must have said something to
him. The Celtics probably just wanted a sweep and they didn't get it, and they ended up letting the series get tied.
Who you got winning tonight? Before I'm gonna hit out, because I still got to watch film, man. I've been studying, watching film.
Yeah, you got your coaching stuff going on.
Who you got winning tonight?
Tonight will probably end up being the Clippers. Again, I think the Nuggets might take this series to Game 7. I don't know if it'll end any sooner.
I got the Nuggets winning tonight.
I can get behind it. I think it'll go back and forth all the way to 7.
But hey, man, great. I'm gonna head out. I wanted to come on and bring some because I was supposed to come on, but then you kicked me off. I was excited. I was like, yeah, man, I get to do a show with Dane. You know.
I just didn't know. I had a whole thing set up.
Hey, this chain is biggin'. Do you see this, boy?
Makes your head look small, and that's difficult. I said it makes your head look small, and that's difficult.
Don't it? And I got a big ass head. But hey, man, great show. Hey, the Clippers are gonna lose tonight. Jamal Murray, you just can't contain that energy right now, man. Like, he's battling. He got something to prove. And the Joker's gonna be the key to the game. He's not getting enough.
He's got to be key.
I'm still not. And Michael Porter Jr. needs to step up tonight, too. That's going to be the key. Michael Porter Jr. is going to have to step up, and Joker's going to have to play big. Because to be honest, Zubac can't guard it.
Right. He can guard him at the rim. That's about it. If Jokic plays like he normally does and plays like a point center, Zubac should not be able to keep up with him up and down the court.
Yeah. But all right, brother. Hey, have a good rest of your show.
All right, big dog.
All right.
See ya.
See ya.
As we were saying though, hold on. Yeah, so tonight's game, Clippers and Nuggets. I just think it'll be the Nuggets winning. Courtney says, I think it'll be the Clippers, not Nuggets. Courtney says Nuggets are winning. I truthfully think this game will go to 7. I think it'll go. Obviously, Clippers won game 1, Nuggets won game 2. I think Clippers win the night, Nuggets game 4, Clippers game 5, Nuggets game 6, and anybody game 7. I cannot say for a guarantee that the Clippers will end up coming out of this series because they should not have come out against the Mavericks. They just didn't look great. They did not look good at all. It just wasn't the game that they needed to play in any of the games. The Mavericks looked too good, and if they didn't lose KP in game 1, Mavericks win that game. If they didn't lose KP because of injury in another game, Clippers lose that game. There was too much stuff that went on to say that the Clippers are guaranteed this win. So, what the heck is going on? Yeah, that's gonna be that. Toronto did get their ass whooped, Tommy. It was bad. 32 points is not a game that you want to be part of. As a loss, that is. Clippers will win the series. You think so? I'm not sold on that. I just really don't know. Obviously, it's a possibility. Obviously, it's basketball. It's the playoffs. You can never count anybody out, and Clippers should be the better team. I just don't know if I can call them the better team. So that's that. Tomorrow, the Lakers should be playing again against the Rockets, and the Heat and Bucks will have their game 5. As ugly as that is to say, the Heat. Just count it. I'm not even gonna think about the Bucks winning. If they don't have Giannis at all, the Bucks will probably look like a better team. But Jimmy Butler came with an interview after last game when they lost, and said after Giannis was out of the game, they kind of relaxed, which he's kind of obligated to say that because his team dropped the ball. He dropped the ball. So I feel like he has to say that just because it's defending that team's like character. But I don't know if they should even consider they relaxed. I think they literally just collapsed, if that's what I should say. They didn't look great against that team without Giannis, but shit happens. The other game is the Lakers and the Rockets. To me, I don't think the Rockets will win another game in the series. Courtney said that he could push for a game 6 and believe that. I could also agree maybe if the Lakers decide to not play basketball in like game 4 or game 5. I think Lakers win tomorrow. I think they win the next game. I think they go up 3-1, and then maybe that's where they drop the ball. I don't know. Yikes. Is that about the Celtics game? Because, yeah, that was that. Celtics, like I said, they just have every upper hand against the Raptors, it looks like. I don't know how, don't know where it came from, but it's not pretty. And evidently, that's how it showed up. But yeah, so that's what's been going on. That's what will probably go on, I hope. As much as I would love my predictions to be right. No, my Lakers take. What do you mean my Lakers take? You think the Rockets are going to take them to game 7 or something? Don't tell me you think it's going game 7. I'll have to fight you. I'll end this stream and throw hands. Let's hear it. What do you think? What do you think the Lakers series is gonna? Oh my God, we're gonna have to fight. What the heck is going on? But yeah, so that's that. The only other thing that I could think of is the poor Philadelphia 76ers. Um, they had their hopes high for this roster that they've created. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Al Horford. Who's the other guy on their team? Tobias Harris. The four of them. Apparently, Philly and their front office, had really high hopes for this roster to win this year or next year or the year last year. Everybody saw what happened last year. They got bounced by that insane Kawhi Leonard shot that hit every part of the rim possible. And then this year they got swept by the Celtics. A day after they got swept, they fired Brett Brown, which was their head coach. So that's where their quote unquote rebuild, if that's what you want to call it, since they no longer have a coach. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to be called a rebuild because the roster isn't being completely shifted yet. But I mean, let's be real here. It should be. So they're in need of a new coach, whoever that may be. Nate McMillan from the Pacers could be it. Mark Jackson could be it, maybe. That's a reach because he's had some personal quarrels with the NBA. So I don't know if they're blackballing him for that or not. So that's that. The finances of the roster are kind of insane. This year it's already over, so their payment's done. But next year, the 2020-2021 season, Tobias Harris is expected to make $34.4 million. Joel Embiid is $29.6 million. Ben Simmons is $27.3 million, and Al Horford is $27.5 million. Then the next year, 21-22 season, Tobias Harris is to be making $36 million. Joel Embiid goes to $31.6. Ben Simmons goes to 29.5, and Al Horford drops down to 27. And then the next season, Tobias Harris jumps up again to 37.6 million on the last year of his contract. Joel Embiid goes to 33.6 on the final year of his contract. Ben Simmons goes to 31.7 again last year of his contract, and Al Horford has 26.5. So they're both signed for 3 more years. All of their contracts go through 2023. But evidently so. They haven't done too hot with this roster. Al Horford really hasn't looked all that great when he has played, and he hasn't really been available the whole time he's been on this team. So what did they do there? Some adjustments to those salary numbers could be made. It's not really possible on Al Horford. They also have 4 second-round picks. I don't know if that is this year. I think it might be this year. They have 4 second-round picks. So could they make some trade moves? Of course. They could completely move Horford, not a fit. Yeah, he hasn't looked that great. He looked good when he was on the Celtics, and he moved to Philly, and he was either injured or not looking good on that team. Force Simmons to learn how to shoot. The problem is Ben Simmons knows how to shoot. He just freaking can't. He did so well shooting at LSU. He was shooting well at Montverde. I remember watching him play. He could shoot, but the only problem is whenever he was at Montverde, obviously he was a 6'9" point guard, like a literally point guard on that roster. And he never really had to shoot because being 6'9" and a point guard against all the other academy teams that they played, their point guards were like 6'2", 6'3". So he could just do what LeBron should be doing every game, drop a shoulder into him just enough to not get called to charge and go in and dunk over people all the time. And obviously at Montverde, everybody there is freaking blessed with some extra supreme talent. It's insane. But yeah, so they should probably make some moves, open up some roster spots. It's not looking great. They need a new coach. Oh, that's the other thing. Steve Nash got hired. Another player, like former player, getting hired as a coach. Jason Kidd was the coach of the Bucks for a little bit, I believe. I don't know how long it was exactly, but he was the coach for a second there. Um, you know, so Steve Nash, another legendary point guard. He is now the coach for the Brooklyn Nets. He will be joined player-wise by Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Spencer Dinwiddie's hopefully back. Karis LeVert will be there. Jarrett Allen is there, who's really good center. He's not like superstar, but he's damn good. So yeah, the Nets. Obviously, we have no expectations for him, but Coach Steve Nash, it could be either really good or really bad. He's done very well with his attitude at all times. He's been a very good leader. His godson or something like that is RJ Barrett, I believe, the point guard for the Knicks, from Duke. I believe that is his godson. I don't know for sure. I don't want to lie, but he's always done really well. He was a really good person whenever he played. He was a damn good player whenever he played. Do not quote me. I believe he leads assists. Do not quote me. NBA assist leaders. I lied. He's second all time. No, third all time. Yeah, third all time. Behind Jason Kidd, the former coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, and John Stockton is number one. Okay, so Steve Nash is third all times in assists in the NBA. 10,335. That's pretty damn good. He was one hell of a player. I believe he leads the league in all-time free throw percentage too at like 94.1. Career free throw percentage. I completely forgot to mention Steve Nash. I'm so sorry. Oh, sorry. When he retired in 2015, wow, that's not that long ago. For some reason, I thought he retired a long time ago. He retired as the NBA's all-time leader in free throw percentage, 90.4%, just ahead of Mark Price. He is obviously, like I said, he's third all-time assist leader in the NBA, but he is the Phoenix Suns all-time leader in assists, 3-point field goals, 3-point field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and assist percentage. So he owns quite a lot of records for the Phoenix Suns in terms of point guard play. Don't know if Phoenix will ever have somebody to beat those records. They do have Devin Booker, but he's more of a scoring player than anybody else on that team, I guess. So yeah, that is that. What I do want to do before I leave, once again, I will remind you this every week. Loudmouth Sports Talk, bombshellbowling.com/Loudmouth Sports Talk. Yeah, Miss Michelle, she's been wonderful. She's awesome. She makes our shirts. They're these beautiful shirts. I don't have a picture of our hoodies. Let me see if somebody does. I don't know. But yeah, so these are our These are our shirts. Sorry, they're $20. We go from small to 5X, I believe. You can order them. They'll be shipped out, free shipping to anywhere in the States or anywhere, I think. Don't want to guarantee that, but free shipping. We also have hoodies that are coming out. Instead of this gray color, they are the blue color. And all of the words are orange. Still the same logo, though. Loudmouth Sports Talk. We are wonderful. We have shows every so often. Sunday's the only day we have completely off. Me, Dame Calls Game, Monday nights at 8:30. Loudmouth Roundtable, Tuesdays at 8:30. Sorry. I think we're going to start like waning off of that because we don't want to take away from our personal shows every other day. So yeah, we've got everybody. Whenever we do a round table, we've got literally everyone from the group. Into the Trenches is Sean and Luciano. Wonderful. I'm sorry. I apologize. Into the Trenches is Courtney and George, our football talk. Ahead of the curve is Robbie Phillips, baseball talk. Best show in the game. He's funny as shit, witty. Mucking and Grinding is our hockey talk with Rob. Don't confuse it with Robbie. It is Rob. Fridays at 8:30. A lot going on in hockey playoffs. There's been some really good games. And then Off the Top Rope is our wrestling show with Sean and Luciano. I apologize for confusing you. So yeah, you see our schedule. Sunday's the only day we have completely off. So tune in. Keep in mind that we are more than welcome to have comments and talk. Thank you very much for tuning in this week. It's been me, Damien, from Dame Calls Game. I will see you next week.